Masomo Asempa 94.7 FM. Eda munyina sesama munyina kwa baby de moba Ekosiisen. So midin your say bonsu from Yobi. Make us say a Dr. Frank Bano Atnase. Sounds na Atik Mohammed Atnase. Enche lawyer Chumberema will join us in studio. Na yashasi edin komo ya discussion segment. Munim se Franco Trading Enterprise ne boyen me de yen komodie ebremo Franco se ene omunsaka CCTV cameras omode ene ewo on-screen display menu and very easy to configure it into wunya bia enye den kra obi use no kama enye no nkwa omode chest freezers and refrigerators about washing machines and they are there aba na ene ukohwa all types of mobile phones and accessories. In fact unim say open phone papa dia ni fie and Franco Trading Enterprise into all types of mobile phones and accessories ewo open smart TV na from 32 inches to 100 inches ubenya bi ato ewo Franco air condition 1.5 2.0 2.5 horsepower ni nyina ubenya bi ye shop se wo Ghana he bia uremu a wo se wo pe bi ato a ebi ewo me pa cho mo amobetimi a download yen app no anasa mo be ko francotrading.com yen website na wa order new man yema 40% discount 40% discount on all our digital platforms in a free in CCS I won't be 0246 42 2338 0246 42 2338 na only into me in the encommoni and share emwao eno ya dia Franco say yemfa ento mwenim Franco Trading Enterprise say them still phone papa fee. But you know the heat is on, energy levels are high, CC bigger and extremely hot as another thrilling arithmetic competition is set to blow your mind. Moria Education Limited brings to you the much anticipated UCMAS National Competition and Picnic. Theme near unlocking the inner potential for tomorrow's digital world through mental arithmetics. Scheduled to happen at the Pentecost Convention Center, Kaswa. Yes, Friday 9th to Sunday 11th August 2024. Yes, it is Friday 9th to 11th August 2024. Don't miss out on this fun-filled educational experience. Come witness an outstanding display of brain power, speed, confidence, and mental agility. Side attraction, no, your bouncy castles, your trampoline, your face painting, train ride, BC challenge, and other exciting fun activities. Folks, what time is it? It is UCMAS time. Yes, in the end, I am fire hunshim na enquiry a national competition na ebaso ebeye gidi ebaso Pentecost Convention Center. Unbelievable stuff. And because we want mama yenshanzu kwala ben a cracky one brains by you questions ano eseweni and so catch it. It's going to be fun. And mama yenshanen so sounds so na any where a notice to all private lotto operators. Me pacho, or a private lotto operator. The governing board of the National Lottery Authority, Metre NLA Asamie Ukudano, say private lotto operators are mutie me no. Say wo license wu na won renew and I say wo ye adwuma without license board ne say from the 1st of August you have to cease operation. And yes wara to avoid ceasing operations, no. Then what you have to do is a Coneco obtaining a requested license from the NLA board and sign a 15th August 2024 back. And one person a big G Jumene free when sema Coneco a license. Now I say could renew a license no on or before 15th August 2024. Failure to comply will result in enforcement actions. Lawsuit crack and I say a bit clamp business down. For further inquiries, please contact our customer service helplines on 0266 087 966 0266 087 966 and I say 0266 087 946 0266 087 946. National Lottery Authority, development through games. It are there omo bo won ho modern pa I was seeing na yehwe na ebo ne chidom na bibia etumi ekoye mamema abedwafo na kwaba na afei yen hyase eni enkomo Atik Mohammed akwaba etesen bibi ekoye.
Like I keep saying, it could be better. It's the 89 column in India.
You remember
but the bomb is,
things will pick up.
The days ahead would be better.
Sure.
The medium term outlook, it's not bad, but but it's encouraging. Say a bit to me.
In the formula, in the medium term outlook near the end.
So we are looking at what we expect our performance economically between 5 to 7 years.
5 to 7 years. Any medium term outlook.
Exactly. No? It's not bad. People sometimes would say the medium term is around 3, but the ideal thing is from 5 to 7. Medium is 1 to 3 and thereabout.
Okay.
But yeah, sure. Media.
But how about this month to the end of the year?
In the short term, no, I think say if the Minister for Finance or to meet this year. On say one first supplementary budget and he has hinted on some expenditure cuts.
Sure.
Because excessive expenditures in election years in a creates a political business cycle.
Okay.
Until your boy whom getting to the end of the year in an election, I say Bibiano. Also on the version also. Because there is a temptation to overspend. And maybe a beba near Kwaku Kwarteng. Look. And he captured in a way like meaning from day one, Abamba it starts overspending.
Okay.
Then we borrow to continue overspending. Kaba, we borrow to retire some of part of the debt that has matured, so we can have some fiscal space to continue overspending.
Yes.
So at every point in time, we are in a race to spend and spend and spend.
Borrow, spend.
And that cycle is a vicious cycle. You need to break it at some point.
Okay.
And one of the measures you can, adopt to break that vicious cycle, and it's you begin to rationalize your expenditures, and when necessary, you cut some of them out.
Okay.
Well, especially in an election year, and if the Minister of Finance at meeting your work catcher in his medium, in his media review, or to meet this because there is that temptation, say.
You would overspend.
Exactly, as in an election year.
Okay.
But or say to show commitment, say I have no intentions of recording overruns. Mean for supplementary budget, because supplementary budget means you are bringing additional expenditures. What I say, mean for supplementary budget and I have no intentions of doing unplanned expenditures. Also, you don't sometimes you will. Financial budget, but we tend to spend on them.
Okay.
And they are hitting up the economy and the rest of it. Or say or no. And yes, all the expenditures for the baby. Name mum near one no cry, a bill cry, so cut it down. And yet to me, these are uncommon. Now to me, dinner okay, sudia. Me wajidi getting to the end of the year, no. Some of the indicators would have fared very well, and that would give us our springboard to continue on a better footing in the next fiscal year.
Obey Finance Minister, substantive no and chair.
These are not
enough to.
These are not. You can say spillovers from over.
No, that's not my question.
I thought
the American say for more as economist, enough time to assess him as.
Yes, you can. You see, one internet be. Or at least say there was a need for us to change the finance minister, because new finance minister comes with some goodwill. What has here? If you have a finance minister who has dealt with the partners over and over, Newman's or before from bar, he comes with some call it first time goodwill, no? Until there is. I'll for us to start negotiations with our official creditors. Went to me,
sure.
But after buying
and check
what is it? Because it's our first time goodwill need there. And I mean, it's the type who likes to engage, who listens.
Sharp brain
who listens, and this is his field too. Mika, baby, with all due respect to accountants, ejuma na oye honum na nya accountants, ejuma.
Economics, Juma.
What must here? Until you can appreciate how he understands some of these things, maybe better than somebody who doesn't have that background. That is one. Two, I've spoken about goodwill or Dibano, and his attitude towards the public. What do you say? Ungravo ema omo punky juicy. Oba, you know, the attitude of Overetta was different. It was one of hostility. But Amin was able to engage them. One say, look, there is something called political economics. It's not just enough. So there is an intersection between economics and politics. Whether you are a finance minister or whichever ministry you are, because you are not just there to look at the books and look at, okay, which fiscal policy are we bringing to either show up revenues or look at our expenditures. Sometimes a year, revenues, you know, Sebi, they don't fall from heaven.
Yes.
Amount for taxes, you have tax and non-tax revenue, but Ghana has a greater percent, in fact, not a greater percent. Duduana, your revenue, Duduana is tax revenue. What I say, and a person to how you deal with them is very, very important.
Very important.
And and there was a need for us to restructure our debt that resulted in our domestic debt exchange programming. People were affected, and these are people look, our incomes were affected and their livelihoods were affected. Ebimusu or pension.
Yeah.
How you treat and deal with some microphone, he engaged them. So they gave him some relief and gave him some grace period to address the issue. All them say, oh man, sad time no. Economics wo he impeded this how. And then we move what I say, he can't pay it. And then we cook. It doesn't allow you, the man in charge, to have the peace of mind to plan. But also engage you or move with respect and all of that. A man they afforded him some grace period. And within that period, once he's been able to work out some magic. Now Otia some crofona who were affected. What I say? Until it's about tactic, it's about expertise, it's about goodwill. And it's also about the fact that he has the character of a finance minister. Finance minister, you should be willing to engage. You should be, look, consider who say we are 7 will be a bit theater also. What was even though there were labor agitations, you know, but most of them are not salary and wage related. What I say? It means the Minister of Finance is doing something. But can you know, Uncle election year say? This is when labor holds governments to ransom and they hold them hostage. Because Obia is demanding an increase, you know, and there's something they call wage price spiral. And they say, when the prices of goods and services go up, workers and our labor would demand, say, look,
so
to
my
meet
will
increase the wage, you know. And the more you increase the wage, which means you are introducing more liquidity in circulation. That also would push up inflation. So inflation goes up, they demand more wage. More wage causes a further increase in. But one say he's been able to manage, even though inflation are costly, but the demand for higher wages So you see that there is a declining trend in inflation.
And all of that you think because of him at the finance ministry?
No, comparison.
I just want affirmation.
Exactly, precisely. Until me, man, 2 years ago, we had an opportunity. Well, Uncle Baby, probably where would be today would be way better than we are.
Okay.
If you had listened to good counsel, now we you for free. Because for 7 years, all bought through cars. Says here, all man go view and still or see on map of paying go view. Why international finance minister?
And that's supposed to be.
Now, on the envoy in charge of international finance,
international markets, international market and investment.
The corona.
Obi no minister.
Envoy special envoy.
Special envoy is equivalent to a minister. In the UN setup, special envoy. You are as good as
UN setup for minister.
Ambassador. They have country representatives. What is here? Papa Ibn James.
Yeah, Ibn James.
He was the UN Secretary General's special envoy to the Sahel region.
Sure.
No, we are not disputing that.
Finance minister. What is it?
Dr. Bano akwa better say.
Yeah, jo bi na. Yankopon na da roma ye hoye.
Na ye can, I mean the new finance minister and I think the response when you're so far maybe say onya any shaky start. It's been all smooth throughout. Maybe that change, should have happened a bit earlier.
Obi medase na enyo ewie mechia wetie fu nyina omutie ye na the mechanism on say one thing about economics and financial markets no the fapim nyina the friend say information antina say wusua economics edru bia na ya catch us say asymmetry of information center kese ba ko a ewo economics ne finance mu nti bi okura se wo de yete Ghana he say aburuchime me ka se wo de ntama na kwenti ase se kwenti pai na bo so all of a sudden na stock market na shall see a misbehaving because of this information. Nti definitely or maybe to say Ghana your on Miami say oba abibimemu ha some ha me make us offer amai do abibimemu ha sub-Saharan Africa enipa eni ewo mo ho investors anyone who Ghana one of them are untumi enyim film ti say or maybe san say edru baby na say usika semono emi se unya de friend say haters be kakra baby na say osesa ebi enipo da ni mu na aya market no pick on that information so hu omo pick on so be omo free so bi a o pese o dane ni o ma ni kura nti na de nipa for Friday aba nti say ekoba sa market no pick on it nti me de say na ye kana enshada enye me one be based on this economic theory we ko no say yes finance ministry name say for now the friend say honeymoon period no ubenya na in politics and economics and ubenya na me can say me judge from the media budget media even before the media budget was presented na I was so hopeful say tax increases and I say new tax and I say supplementary budget the yenkonya because because say your budget now you're presenting in November 2023 no now I think say your Johnny IMF na the first major budget and you're presenting now we have most of the budget no money na purely hinge on austerity say ye belt no ye be miemu kakra na sika bia ye be dia na say ye be use enhyeda amfa emfa so emre oman no yemfa ye hu enko rem and critically so na IMF no so ameye some core indicators bia e wo say yetumi emiti na into media budget review na nyem wa bibi te say social spending ade so hwa media budget review honorable Dr. Amin Anta e de kodan parliament na social spending ade ba kwa mi say aban no etumi apagye mu yipa because say we go through to say the na menu atiki kan say we the friend say debt restructuring send your kind of a painful exercise. I have to admit it on your radio. Say debt restructuring is very, very, especially domestic debt restructuring. So one can send it more money mono unu mube sinkunya akatro so oh ebia a government instruments and amatono sana interest in si hu e hu ebia 20% ayesremo ye hwan so dia babia 10%. Afi kura no bo brena osenkedi etuama mono so no ye pese ye twekwa echi kakra sere be aban de betumi enya de friends fiscal space ni say abana between yesika dodo egu
me say we need mu amame sima mienu me ba ma watwa so honorable Kwaku Kwarteng wa homa no mame ni nkomo tell because ne issue ne one of the topical issues I dey home honorable akwa ba Ekosiisen so ne bibia boko there
me just so me tia etiefo nyina
etiefo eje so over the weekend I mean a open letter I suppose eba betodwa ema Ghana for bebre na ekan bi and I think I ignited this huge debate both online and even in the traditional media sitting back no sure reaction when efasa open letter yi ho a eto san
well this time statement no medem fashion na enye pancho se ye ba be ka ho asem ewo edwom sei me troko MPP.
Hello yeah honorable Mpacho Temenka
me tonka now Temenka
yes yeah now so troko MPP
okay me troko MPP platforms international say internal MPP conversation by say 4 days ago, platforms need be so yeah.
Hello. Oh wow. Charlie Chum check. Honorable Temenka. Hello. Okay, mun check in mama na fe yen sign inya no na yen to ankomo no so Ekosiisen so ni ha ya Asempa 94.7 FM enti bomoden se wo adwenkyra won so de ebebrain in studio Atik Mohammed and Dr. Frank Bano lawyer Chumberema would be joining us any moment from now. WhatsApp number is 0548 443 523 0548 443 523 na yentie won so wadwenkyere won nsem a yedi ho nkomo no eho. Yes, I'm told say honorable me pacho what me nka sisi a
pacho me tonka
fantastic enti me pacho to aso me.
Okay, now you can say you can make sure the another maintain and can be make sure for NPP platform. Make sure that say another 9 and 5 on the 26th number to a platform. So we do more and come out our internal NPP platform. So no one rich and who say at the end PL social media and I feel so not about the traditional media and so not about it. And Litina, I say, you better say, na the before Kafa home and Sally at Litina. And as the set in some way, a better a gallop be a common.
Oh, okay. But have you been surprised about reactions when you especially from Wow Party?
I've been a bit surprised. The man must say a statement. Actually, you can do a course. Now, in our platform, some combo a TB. For example, must have the question say, but I say no. You also have to be a one in my way to on the time.
And essentially, now a then now per se. O party for ebobo ode way at home platform so no what was the intention behind Sadi na then I present bobo
well I did play platform so no na both any no dey kind na me person me pin na because say baby Ghana enam no yenam ye and then two among bidum sisia that is my na yebekobon na enye NPP aban na desa de no aba NPP aban per se titi akwa ya faso ebu na mine tedi ya spendi sika yeni na afei yakobosia na tendi o se bobosia na kesi it is every year sika yeni itedi ya na sadia na ma ene ahihia yakomo no I don't know now if never a buy way up and some even though or say yes, so I'm not going, you didn't press some cut. The other day, 9 same queen. And so yet, a far air than a woman. The Pilagram officer Ghana, young trade, the company or see one. The person you know, now you see the party, we knew no more, and they say, the person NPP, you need in Kitahudian conversation of mine. I was a lady, sir, baby, your mind calling Koyi. Now, you are trying to run a more say, I am my in Chilima. NPP, then you me in Chino. No, the conversation on reforms I hear. Let's say the leading conversation was a black boy, Magana for who say, some minor way and yet also the 2 minimum. Only bet to me as three problems are in 9 years. Also, bet to me up one acquire a number. You see, I economic management calls and that M1. A minor call in a boy, I'm a years ago. But we not say I'm saying about their money idea. I'll do baby. No.
Too bad. Ain't Honorable Kwaku Kwarteng ahomano article work the lines and get him back. Now fe yatwaso eneno edi enkomo and wish say benya a better connection nafe obi atimi ehu said the nioma esi echo at least ultimate team ema yen wi a nafe aboa serve as a basis for yes honorable yes intima
na me can say
yes
bi obi be ka say na say mo wa ban mo ni adan na mo nye de me ka ene say abrabo he wo bo a etimi du mredi wa utimi hu say ekwan a wonam so no emwa wa utimi dane wo NPP wa ban mu de but in hagene say ye be ka say ekwan a edikanfo no esa omutwa ya yenso ye ba ye nam so no ye hu say emwa nti efi na ekọ ye betoto ye nioma se ne ye be ya enchiri ma be ba be so man we mu aka say ye nananom o ma ye di ama ye hagene say NPP ye be kasa ye kasa na ye ka etu anamo Ghana for be di ye di ni ye the coalitions we mu ye be break 8 no nti no na me pese me ne me party for enkomo a pese ye di na ye di kakra nso e wo ye platforms ne so na ebeto dwa no na ehia se ye bedi nkita ho se na nka me kra de me pe ene se ensem we ebe CMPP ho aba na nka obi kura hu se Kwaku Kwarteng anase obi na kofa idea ne baaye na nka ye se NPP ya tena se no ye koye nim de ye pese ye yeni na nka party no nkofo ehu se ampa ye di oman no mo a otena ene enura ebe ye sonko intino hagene kakra se akopie se but dan ya Ghana for ho adwuma ne pese ye ato just say no me de me stress ye be ye and say ye interest
too bad I don't know are they all driving ana
no sir I'm saying this network they say voice messages saying they are doing some whatever.
Too bad. Okay, Dr. Bano, we pacho twice.
You maybe me das na me twice no na me ka media budget review ho asem na me ka senti wo hwa me de se de bia na me dua me ka ye social spending. Wo hwa ye social spending ye NHIS ye leap no me say aban no atumi apija sika dodo a me say odiko ra ho ni mu na me say free senior high school mpo de nde enka ho asema minister twa for you say are spending 9.9 billion. Now, idea back when Mr. Budget na stand out for me, no, the first time in an election year, na ya present the substantive budget in November 2023. Say abayno ebedisika Ghana cedi no 226.7 billion Ghana cedis. Now in the media budget review, no, in Sesen Kaibia, abayno the new budget and as a supplementary budget babampono for the first one. Bekache say ya revise no downward. I free 226.7 billion to I think about 219 billion. Let me say a idea stand out for me as an economist. Let me say and one of the things and I stand out for me say in an election year, not just any other year, but in an election year. Now a BM so say oh shenso na yen revenue no so no let me say for the first quarter no and that's for the first part of the year no yeah to me exceed a revenue no by about 0.2% of GDP. Let me say nation here about 172 billion Ghana cedis. Yeah to me nya be close to about 179 billion Ghana cedis. And also for the first time in an election year, not to say the minister Amin Antakano, I say we have try to live within our means and untinu ehunko yesi bi kure kwa kobo besia anampo sebia abano kra edisika foforo kwa ko damra sebeja fo so ebia de ka sanke ebedie no se ye hwe anu petita kremu no e wo se mutumi ma kwan ne yedi bi esoso eno so eye ade a na mi se eye standard room na mi se ade ba ko bie mu so mi se na obisa me about o question about aye honorable finance minister na mi se ade ba ko mi se me de me bona baso do the negotiations started and san ono bano eye energy sector no the IPPs sebe kaya sa legacy debt take it or leave it agreement na tama abandada ne etwomendisi abane kono na ye wo energy crisis and I said the friend is doom son muntino as a result of say ye pe doom son so ano no ye ne ankrankra omo etumi ebemu be maye nyinam kanea no ekọ agreement bi a emi say sa agreement na akọ say emi say ekomodo na obi aka so mo aduane o ka so me mo aduane na owi a me mo adwuma o so adwuma bi ade me bi a meye afọ owi o say ne suansuo free ha na fa kọ ye friend sen kuma se mame na obi o kan say agreement no be say Ghana by the time no ye de yensa ekosha ase a eno ebe ma eye sika kase betoy so mi say na afi ye tua ni ye ntua nwie da nti so wo hwa a or the tuja say yes energy sector debt and answer the IPPs asemi aye ken independent power producers asemi no so far no matumi me say power producers no enum 5 out of 7 if I'm right and akasa ama omunya ehonte ase ti say yetumi de mienu no aka na abesoso a ehon kwan no Ghana ebetumi asave between me say be say 6 to 8 billion American dollars and no so idea back one.
I'm just seeking clarification. When I read that part I was asking Omka say omuni IPPs na are in common. Is it that they've agreed to lower the tariffs per kilowatt hour of power generated and now they've agreed to say
a haircut?
No, say
and say a haircut. On said to say ya structure to say bondholders external for no na 13 billion or more wave about 4.7 am I now 4.7 billion maybe and 4.3 so period or think he be piano or battery edco echere amaye na me de be nim per what information me say e cannot build over the years I was think you tua ni nyina nti eno na me say oma agye atum for na say the way between that 6 to 8 billion omo nyina say o kan omo boma but in terms of say lowering a unit there e ho de me nya information but what I know ni say e kana nke e de omo no say eni nyina a part of restructuring na ye no nti energy sector so de no na that one and also I linger since of Oriata can of Oriata time. Now you know, do na ajatum say okay for now no there between 6 to 8 billion so 7 in number on board and we see car abani be to me then I save you dear minimum or a hono no.
But see, now we're just postponing the doomsday. Esan say okay, I'm fine said for giving you part of Sika that has accrued. But going forward, you still be paying the same number of the same amount of tariffs per kilowatt of power generated. 2, the agreement pay or take or pay.
No. Don't also forget that most of the agreement have already been reviewed. Sir, existing no.
Reviewed how?
Oh, details in
the year number of years now have been extended for which reason we now perform kaka remember the duration
it also the tariffs itself meba I think
and we are coming back to the same thing
I think answer me person mix it true no so we have budget in the end there purely on a kana ye no okay but sir agreement
the individual PPAs
yes in fact and no know for that time was starting to be bringing peneso somebody ya agreement mun PAC kamai but I say Minister by and say now he's managed to have a breakthrough. Say as I know, say 5 out of 7, and I agree totally. The 2 now can say by the end of the month, no move to me be so they are say between 6 to 8 billion. To say we have 5 and they are 5 and will definitely save us about 6 billion, but 7 in we save about $8 billion. But one thing I know for a fact is say most of the agreements have been reviewed. But as to the details of the review, say there will be some.
The one I know is the Ameri deal, the innovation agreement. But and I said we are postponing the doomsday. Now let's say the legacy debt. We've agreed with them, with the IPP. Say okay, legacy debt. This is how much has accrued. And if you were to waive this much, but that doesn't mean they're going for. We still have the take or pay agreement. We are still going to keep accruing until that agreement is changed. Nobody signs.
And now, sir,
sure. You remember you were talking about a certain article.
Yeah.
This is how they exploit the money. They get you to sign up take or pay agreement. Idea once they produce or they don't produce, they say legacy that we've been able to clear and we've made some headway. If we don't deal with the fundamental problem, which is the nature of the agreements, by the time we finish paying the legacy debt, another one would have accrued. So we'll be moving about
in fact, it is clear even in the budget statement. If I can read it, I'll say, government is projected to make a savings of approximately $6 to $8 billion from legacy debt. It's clear, like I said.
It's about. I'm not even sure they've agreed.
No.
Agreed.
5 on a day out of 7. I know it for a fact. Okay. But just 7 in idea, I can't tell. But I know I think before the budget was read, I knew for a fact, say 5 out of 7.
But then the minister, the total legacy debt.
Very important.
And say, as me say, Obi, and they say,
up to deal with our legacy debt. How much has accrued to us, and how much of it have we used to retire our legacy debt?
How much is remaining
we
now?
We collateralize our ESLA to go and contract federal loans.
Sure.
And this kind of background and so this idea of legacy debt, we are retiring part of it because Nkrofna to say they will agree for us to write off some of but the question I say there is an arrangement mechanism say the legacy debt.
Is it a waterfall agreement?
No, waterfall is
cash
just
waterfall.
Cash waterfall is just how you share the money when it comes. But ESLA
is
part of the
for
price build-up. What else? And also, idea and the target was just legacy debt. Energy sector debt now. How much of it has accrued?
Yeah.
How much is our total legacy debt?
How much have we paid? Saying our car. Okay.
These are things
I agree with you. I agree with you. So, as part of accountability, it's something say the ministry maybe ought to provide more information. Now, and to say when it comes to the debt restructuring in the energy sector, information I was not supposed to have said it here. But for enhancing the conversation, it's something that is still ongoing. But as far as I know, I make us a 5 on a day. I agree. I think almost like about 3 weeks now. I agree. I said 2. I'm standing 2 per NNI. But obviously, it is a very instructive to know.
Finally on the budget for me.
Yeah, $6 to $8 billion Obi. And yes,
no, $6 to $8 billion.
Dollars. Yeah, MFCK $3 billion. It is Obi Mount.
Now, sir, your biggest loan I contracted at a go in bulk. As a country, say I'm more $3 billion.
There be Eurobond, and I
okay, Eurobond,
yes.
And remember,
the highest was $3 billion. The highest was $3 billion. You're right.
The Chinese loan under Mills. The one for 12. It was $3 billion initially. And I know I think eventually about $1.5 billion.
They signed up for the sea gas processing plant. Initially, $900 million, and a rise in cost.
$3 billion.
600 penny and 600 million.
Sign hydro. Butter, you know.
I like that. Butter one.
They say a butter and you loan. They said to actually say butter. So we can loan us. No, butter.
We're supposed to develop.
Bauxite,
yeah.
The cash now, I'm front loading mine. Yes, it becomes
as a loan. It becomes a loan.
Say, and I'm can say honey agree and I'm can say me I take it or hard you on say Obi. Say on say you could do an IMF no.
Yes.
Now as part of the discussion on say the initial agreement crowd do be na senka bia nka ye the gold cra be offset na IMF for no ka say dabi so ti ama ehwo no so akoye enkomo fofora and also esensen ho so say ye koye nu say ye the gold na kwakotua ana say bauxite de na na ye be kono pepe eno so aye enkomo bia mi say e sha ase e wo ntina ma me ka say nyeno ne ye ba be kana me nu atik de wo hadwe ti ono do no otutu rewre mu sa na
say this whole bauxite ade eno nam so na gear deck.
Yes.
And all those agencies
say that analysis and quantify
around for 6-5 years drawing salaries.
It's collapsed.
Who told you?
So I mean agencies because I don't deal with there is on rocks.
So no, what I'm saying is
that came up from
Obi if you tap right in every year Takrady PTC, Takrady Road, Naiba, Befa, Frost, Apawa Junction. Chinese one goes somewhere, Juma, one year.
Almost Chinese, almost
and we understand hydro, South project.
Yeah, no, understand. Yes,
I mean, me free a year, and me bedroom have a same fast be 215. But we go somewhere, Juma, so many.
Okay, what am I
lawyer? Still comes.
Send me some year,
yes or no?
I want necessarily kind of mom, don't come here. Maybe it's kind of my own. What's the kind of someone try my directly?
You do the work. No, much. And
to be honest, the Chinese government activity here, and can the Chinese company say Chinese company in a one, and can they won't come back to the place? Oh, when they say, Opa Frubia, so they saw a lens. Frubi says, see, our catch us. And they are if you talk
very well. My member lawyer Chum Akwaba Nafe, let's zoom straight to, and because of the importance of that. Letter about Toja and what it means for our economy going forward. And she will say, "You did home and come on." Lawyer, my microphone page name Kaka Aqua better saying, "Ufi Tamale and Namiana."
We don't.
Oh, and run I'll be do Accra. As a walk bread.
As a driving in, driving out, and
oh, drive a coy.
Hey,
drive
no pocket fit. No, said driving out.
Flight, I am this weekend a flight one year day. Hey, but yeah, the ultimate driver got Tamale. Hey, I can't imagine myself driving that long.
It's quite stressful, but Yakoba.
Wow. That's really good. That's not all one comforted to chain or car. We won't quite a baby.
Oh, maybe I'm going to 3 years.
Hey, the ultimate driver free Tamale Bakra.
Oh, some driver cover.
Oh, you've done that before?
I do that. Not that I've done that before. I do that.
Been patronity from me some budget in a kind national level. Or say, restructuring terms have been agreed with Amandi, Send Power, Early Power, Send, and AXA. So far, these are the companies. Yeah, these are the companies on my jatum for now.
Okay, Send Power says net for the.
Anyway, many they won't come.
Send Power and a net for investment one. I say,
I think it's solely owned by Smith. Yeah, solely owned by Smith.
That's a question.
It's a good area to invest.
Yeah,
of course, it's not bad.
But Omokra total generation, I think it's about 1.
I know what.
Yeah, they have to ramp up.
Megawatts.
I know what.
100 megawatts.
Yes, I'm fine. Whatever.
Yeah, I did my boss Mandy, my boss Send Power, my boss Early Power, my boss Senate, and my boss AXA.
Investment.
It's a good investment.
It's a good investment. Now for you using it to this in China.
Yeah.
Now not to be a white draw what the enemy. And then we say our class with them here.
Lord, I'm be able to. Tamale.
Yeah, it was good. It was good.
It meets more expectations.
Oh, of course. Yeah, it was very well organized, and I mean, from the Friday evening, I would drew one day. I can speak from the evening because now the parliament. But from the evening, I drew one day. You could sense that something is about to happen, and it proceeded to the following day,
main event,
and then subsequent. Yeah.
Wow,
it was good. And I didn't was one more by any now. It me return safely that you anti Bonivia. Those who went by road and even by air, and anti Bonivia and Yankopon and yeah.
And the once campaign is launched officially.
No, we have taken off. We have taken off in full force. As it were. As it were.
And maybe I'll start with you because. What kind? When you're that kind, Kwaku Kwarteng letter nibi. And I won't pay attention, Papa.
Just accept even but I've been very busy from 11 Hoban until me and the Kwamaility.
Sure.
I mean, to be honest, what issue letter they are letter the main kind, but at least I've read some excerpts of it. Trending across. Or make reference, I say then they are running the economy like a Ponzi scheme or something. If it's right,
no, say our economy has been run
like a Ponzi scheme. I mean, it's when you're for net. It is economy running as a Ponzi scheme. What you actually running as a Ponzi scheme, then you will know. Not to be a only. They are very simple.
Into me, a perennial problem from all governments.
So, not buying the quick Casas and Quas get chum in a chum in Emma. Now, what's I didn't in about now, by what's I been West Scratches over to them. You were sitting at the back at the fence. Metia, I just went back to listen to my audio back. Or say, we are spending too much. relative to revenue. We are borrowing too much. Our external payment position is worsening. You are saying all these things. Until never do another what transaction man, never bomb my saying, points given upon one run. You met a doctor 122. Now they are called 742. Different no difference. 122 from 742. What if you are saying? Say over 600 billion or so. And it goes so. One of the problems that took us to IMF today is because we are borrowing too much. We are before IMF today. IMF one of the countries. One of the reasons that they are buying commodities because we are spending too much. Spending iPhone is spending more. FM. Your mama has spent this gun, and I will be watching has spent this gun. And yeah, you are those in charge. When I was spending this gun, and IMF said that you are before them today because you are spending too much. I have not said that. And so when you come, Papa is so careful. But me at say or Toby will be damn auto. No, or no, I want to be when you much and the auto. Over transcendent me and after that was what it is. I don't know. So now could do baby and ya. Opposite emblem. So Ponzi scheme, don't forget Ponzi scheme behind fraud. Ponzi scheme behind fraud. In this, what you must not buy now, and you are not going to be and your permanence in China, but in a money or come on Pamon. Or was your deputy minister?
Committee chairman or parliament.
But was your deputy minister?
Darby.
I said, I'm making and yet not as an MP chairman.
Finance, Patrick.
No, but so no quite economy.
And
they've created a new committee.
Yeah, in parliament, yeah.
The economy committee. I don't want to say. This is your finance will deal with loans, going into loans, financial agreement, matters of economy, monetary policy, fiscal policy, and no economy committee. A problem.
In free baby for
no, I
know. Finance and economy. No,
oh, we are sure.
And he said, okay, so 1 minute anymore. So 1 minute anymore. Okay, okay, so no, so hold on. Maybe that's a very simple question. 1 minute anymore. Do you have Ministry of Finance and Ministry of Economy? But when you answer, since I was saying the same.
Say Minister of Finance and Economic.
And this is a demo. Could you? And
into a mofa. And into the deputies, no. Your father in charge of maybe a fiscal monetary policy. And your boss, there be no boss. Hold on, no, hold on.
And your boss, new committee in our parliament that created
parliament. One person the question. And I may say the same thing.
But say finance. Finance and economics in Yade.
But say bomba.
Debbie. Finance. As Bodos,
Doc. They are not the same, but see, I want to say, you know, I buy finance and the economy. Exactly, and that is why in the past, you know, if you go to Parliament, the finance and economy event committee never come.
Now, Parliament
because the ministry is one.
Who say, that's why they are MPP.
And my uncle,
Parliament, the only Parliament.
And my uncle, now, when you want to with a young common and number about the other, because you never be a number.
This is what he said. Or say, where you Kwaku Kwarteng. Since independence, we have survived by constantly overspending our means and borrowing to finance the overspending. And many of these expenditures are just bad prioritization. We always offer, and I think meet or say we always offer higher interest to lenders, borrow more, use a part to repay previous debts, and the rest to pay for the current year's overspending. So we've been running our country's economy like a Ponzi scheme. The economy is struggling today because lenders are now refusing to lend to us. It is just like a Ponzi scheme going into crisis. Once people stop depositing their monies, with them. And you know, contest is since independence.
And I make sense. Say, me do you know can. Ebi ana obi ne ba adwuma media mene ne nyadwen da.
Okay.
The entia mene ne nyadwen na ma kire wo. Me say before they came to power 2016. They are so-called, knowledgeable people, no, and my lectures.
They were abonting.
Obi. Otrano or not just was 170 questions. I'm always on Yano. Till today, as we sit here, or not me as I even question one. Question one out of the 170 continue. So and then he today, the same person You said those questions for that man yesterday because you knew that he was in charge of the economic management team, and for that reason he has a serious role to play in the economy. So when he's going down, you have every right to question him. And no one answers something that we answer questions. Edu was the wajani.
Wajani.
No way. And now I'm also an IT specialist. One economy as people.
Debbie.
Why IT specialist? They say why digital online. What man can say what you
na say okay debate be mano a mano on the economy.
Forget about him. Forget about him. Onya de okeka. Ya tin se yan bre.
Mate.
Any na ya tin hu nei. I've just quoted him. We have been overspending, we have been borrowing too much. Yeah. And I've just sat here and told you, say, I'm a for your corner, I'm a phone and I didn't say that. One must see a name be a dear by woman chain, Baku over borrowing and Baku overspending. But when this government was being that extremely reckless, he was prompted, or they were prompted. I remember World Bank telling this government to stop borrowing and fix their problems. In 2020, the same 2021 COVID came, Obi. IMF and the World Bank for Cambum at the policy conference Debt Suspension Services Initiative, DSSI. Ebai. No say African countries near other countries are a car one more customer woman is a COVID, there will be a challenge over. So they have opened that avenue. No say Mama subscribe to no car more than suspended debts in Mama for some years. FM. These people sat down, played bossy, and refused to join that the program. Few years down the line, we didn't compare the same debt suspension. We say, "Okay, we did the entrance and when it be bra, we shall point channel or bra with the West End. Everything that you were saying yesterday is repeating today. Why haven't you used that same knowledge in the to solve the problems? Why are we still facing the same problems? Why are we still borrowing too much? When Baumia was saying it is bad, and when you do that, you go to IMF. Why are we still overspending? When Baumia said when you overspend, you go to IMF. Where is he? No, so look what Parliament. You can't buy that. No, or first city. No, everybody drink. No, not to another noti. I didn't know. What was he seeing? So at the end of the day, why when you know what do you do? Ubedri I was opposite blame so I didn't see any na a fresh celebrity na anya yenter yesu buy. The abubuo they are saying na to about said obey ni oba and Christopher didn't want dance in the yaba.
They say yesu do supernatural powers. Something okay. All
right, so I'm speaking in the
oh, guys. I'm making reference to yes, I can't say yes.
Expectation was about
no, that was a promise they gave to Ghanaians. Did they say they were going to do things worse? No. One was one the men. That's why they always, I mean, obey the hand or listen to the EMT team. No, what's this are the men? No, we grandma this year. So they have those who can fix the problems. So when a team comes to a park with the so-called experts, the best people who can score goals, near we are not somewhere the 10 naila. Can you call this people a team? And the same people today are telling you, say, oh, we can just turn around with the same people now. The number 5 man can go and be a goalkeeper. Now go goalkeeper and number 5. Sign man in the bay, but you position. Now you're signing. How is that possible? And not possible. If you honorable Kwaku Kwarteng, many sound, but the okay no what by now will count bin or mo create in correct. MPP abanya ba omian na kufu na dan or mo cram pen correct. The okay you work as sample and so to watch. If so mo create the pa or mo create no correct, one dey to kontompon I dey no correct say anompe. Kontompon no correct way okay no correct one nyina watch them say the okay no correct. But they will struggle to agree with you in public. Because they know that the hard truth now, Obintimi can walk and so now they will shield it and cover it up. But a woman will ask what that one chain. Economy no masano, say be among the name Watomon, and say a baby bow as I want to be, and you will suffer it. The Amudia could do be a nebiara, but me as economy is your pocket. In summary, the simplest definition of my economy was a new bottom. And also no amount of economic gymnastics can change that. Today we are asking, ask the ordinary Ghanaian on the street. I went to the mall this afternoon to go and buy something. Obi, I was shocked to be posting me PF more than but didn't put to Nasemiska.
Akramo.
Just this afternoon. Anybody to Nasemiska. And you think that as I'm going to make come between the second person who is a lady. As one make come between looking at her. Looking at her. No be as a cobasra dear, our cramo.
Oh.
No be as a cobasra dear, our cramo. And I said, no, what you will be with my band, no. But I didn't necessarily have a decision.
Oh,
dear Nessie. Dear, I'm at the floor and now one poor Massimo moving. Those days in Kumasi and Co, there were people whose name were, the other countries be attached to Mudin, to Bassi, but yes, you'll be the coffee Korea and one wine. Not because you're going to Korea and you, but the business that will call council back of Yama banks are the identity of this national. And those people cannot speak. They can't speak today. And you're so boasting that you are doing things well. Things when I will, you know. How does that reflect in the ordinary man's pocket? Nibotom to say, as your own vice president said, was say a no pocket. So we are just asking a very harmless question. Upon the Muslim the economy is growing, the demand is going to be a the practical sense and will be able to. So if people are still struggling, people are suffering. Do all coin on ma do all ton yan to nam yan to be kwame amekoto minibi. It was sure at the ambitions what all these things are happening, you know it. Munye bibia 10 minutes to futa bibia no amo ya ye recha samo ade mo vexe. But the ababan so abayan konye skapa ka bia no utamu. Say we make reference from Kwaku Kwarteng days ba femu no. Ufo said this is ba femu na none of these governments are besin kwemu bia no wanye sika chemo. But mumunya no dodo no say sika too much is given, much is always expected. Upon the match na munya ye no, esu dia say no mai anam de mai. My last point, I heard that you can go talking about ESLA. Any legacy that are there. Energy sector. Senya mamu ne mu mamu a. Wo be dia konya no, obi abofu to be to wo say. Foto we ye fentua sa de ma we hu ka. E ka ba ha ne ye fentua. Wo ba ya wonya sa mu no so nti watam sika na kwesi a wakoji sika bedi. Na we bibia ma de.
Sika bedi say.
Na sika okoji sika be de.
Me ba wo ko no ne kan ho.
Wo okoji sika be de.
Wo ko ne kan ho.
Eni ti no creative fund am say wonya sika de akum ya e dia so problem.
I didn't know one clear debt now. Say na possible. Money answer.
We've dealt with it even for days. He was a
yes. Me creating impressions as you created the mess. You were the ones that signed those take it or leave it agreement. Why are you coming to create the impression?
Have you guys signed any energy agreement this time under your government? If yes, go and check whether people take is in it.
Okay.
You have some in there. There is no energy.
Your point
yes,
I'm
just 1 second, Obi. You see, they are painting wrong picture, and I think that people need to learn. There is no energy contract, especially on power. Our best Sunday will not take up. Now, on the power produce now also better. How do you want them to make money?
But
so you find it there.
It's not everywhere that you did.
Yeah, I mean,
but in our context,
in our context, it's
you
like
find
so.
Most of, but at the end of the day, also almost pay insurance be to protect from
when you are in distress, then you will take up.
I agree.
Yes,
I agree.
But
and I'm saying that have you signed any agreement?
And we have reviewed most of these agreements.
Not reviewed. Have you signed any agreement? Actually, and I'm telling you, you have signed some which contain.
I have not seen it.
And I'm saying you have signed some.
The LPG contract.
What can I say? What's that?
LNG.
Yes.
What's that? Everyone.
Contract. Yeah. There's an element of
everyone.
Realistic tariffs
I mean, can you see it?
One after the other.
Mama no say can
okay, let's
yes. You cannot eat your cake and still have it, Obi. What you say you are take or pay agreement? Me what sign be
unrealistic.
Oh,
that is what I said.
Unrealistic. And open okay.
Maybe another
I don't soon when they say
no the number of agreement
and unrealistic tariffs.
Power near the buy. Now more catch me. I'm not in way. Never could be a mass. And I never miss it baby. No new one can would do some copy of myself 2 4 classes in feeding and I said no complaint upon. How are you guys going to solve it? If Amari was not there, would be near and Mambaso. Most of them I didn't condemn you are sitting there and enjoying it.
lawyer
ko wie sika de mo bi didi ne nipa ne di wi no so ko wie sika na e ma ne nkasa de na ko wie sika no
what kind of Kwarteng letter no your thoughts about what you read in that letter. I've heard people say the timing is wrong and all of that. Echo saying me pacho
me that say obi obeka say timing is wrong meaning nyadwe. What timing is right? How do you determine time right? Or
Kwaku Kwarteng letter na about
okay.
How do you determine the right time? I didn't read ye new rules out.
And yeah, be a to say it was not meant for the public, a party platform conversation.
Maybe that's what he
no man taking kasa.
That's what he said.
No, but I mean, I don't think he should even be worried about whether it was meant for, because we shared the thrust of the letter now. It's a conversation about the entire country. He shouldn't be ashamed about the fact that I didn't have Babonte. He should be happy because I didn't generate discussions. And knowing Kwaku, I know Kwaku very well. I wouldn't even say fairly well. Minimally, and Minina Juma on some issues. He's a person who loves issues of policy. Mikai, maybe there was even an effort to set up a bipartisan policy center, and Kwaku was very instrumental. Oh yes, and Yorubia. This conversation, me who let and I wasn't surprised. And I'm saying, look, this is the quintessential Kwaku Kwarteng meaning. Look, the folk when eba nyuma bia ana eba nyuma bi mo a say yetimi yi politics e free mu kakra na yenhwe oman no se ye nyina ye keka ya adwembo mu a na ye bedwi ho a ebekwa akowie sen. Issues of finance and economics and managing the economy, no. It is one of the areas that say yema amanyosem edos. You can have different views on tax reforms. You can have different views about how to increase revenue and the kinds of expenditures you want to do. But that should be about it. What you say. But a back conversation about transforming the nature of your economy, no. It should be a universal conversation. And say ye war MPP phone come or NDC phone come or Debbie. Look, candidate Biaba or Kaumi Bao transform the economy now profakes here. But nobody has been able to do anything meaningful that gives meaning and effect to this rhetoric about changing and transforming the
structure
of the economy. Debbie. You can transforming the structure of the economy. It's just simply moving the concentration of your labor from one sector to the other. And we share how the literature on economic transformation. There are stages that your economy must go through. And sana yetimi can say economy the group and you can say this is a developed economy. Every economy starts with agric as the mainstay. And the majority of your labor force economy, yes, it's supposed to go through such stages, no. Until every economy, the mainstay na agric. Until a lot of your labor force, no, they were found in agric. Then you move to manufacturing, and the Kofa Industrial Revolution by. So economies then began to move more of labor, no, into production, into manufacturing. Every honum now, so it's like a ham-shaped kind of curve, if you were to draw it, where agric is at the base. Then Uba Wenima, then at the top, no, industry and manufacturing. Then you begin coming down. Then services also takes over. Sanity until you realize that from agric, no, you come into manufacturing. A big quadruple manufacturing starts to go down. That is when services then begin to take shape. Now and also as our economy no man also. And you call a lot of the countries. So see, a services sector and technology, banking, these are the things that are sustaining their economies. It almost say they do production, but a lot of when you take their real economies, and the sectors that contribute to their GDP, no.
That is it. The real economy.
Yeah, I'm just trying to explain to those who are listening to us. Oh, the contributors to the real GDP are the real economy. No. In those developed economies, services subsector, no, and our services sector, no. And are contributing more. But can you know manufacturing? So they have gone through the phases. Yeah, that's what Agric. Says here, a woman say Agric doesn't contribute much, but we have missed the manufacturing bit. Says here, services simple and are contributing more. So Obia Okasha said we need to transform the structure of the economy. What that person simply is talking about is that we need to produce more. We need to manufacture more. But Bisami said, since you started our conversation, you can see, said, apart from Nkrumah, like in a meaningful way, has given effect to this rhetoric. I thought when Nanado was campaigning, so one district, one factory. I did a mom in June when they said, I thought, okay, elsewhere they started with cottage industrialization. Maybe that's how we are going to begin. Because one district, it means you are localizing production, no? And we're going to do it in such a way that we discover SAR districts, every district has comparative advantage in the production of one good or the other. And I has a share nuts no more. Yes. You set up a share butter factory. Then maybe there can be an ancillary processing or cosmetics factory, whatever. And in that way, district BR will be a master in the production of sardine. But then later it became some facade, if you ask me. Apart from a Kumfi juice, which other factory and the one they producing in
Sunda.
Producing
yeah.
Kasapreko was there before. No,
Sunda.
Kasapreko was there before.
Kasapreko green.
No, Sunda.
And green
is a brown company.
Yes,
Sunda.
What's a bit omone de sa ayi.
Software
products, diapers, omoye tiles, no the first no more different China. This is omo bisi omo plant na ba quarter. Tiles and
tripod.
Yes,
but tripod and you come one
no, say brown companies.
Manufacturer.
So we see when we talk about setting up my focus.
I think as well say was no kai say e bia ba fa bia fan kwa say
yes, so you are
why don't you be wo
they comparative advantage of their production. They set up a green company. But at the end that's one what at the end of the day. At the end of the day.
No, but if the idea was to create jobs. No.
As for jobs,
hold on.
Those are byproducts.
But if there is a company already in a district doing something, now what you need is injection of capital. Now under a particular policy to build companies. The capital now were produced after.
That's what was done. Some of them were existing that had died, and then they were revived. J. Binding, for example. J. Binding. Yes.
You see, we are confusing two things. Job creation is a function of some of these things.
Sure.
Setting the upper.
Sure.
So, one district, one factory. The main aim is not job creation, but is you can say priority byproduct.
Okay.
Say at the end of the day, it should be able to attract labor. But the idea is for you to be able to increase your production, local manufacturing. That is the idea. And the reason I open so local manufacturing, you produce things locally, you deal with your exchange rate issues. People are able to get jobs as byproducts and so on and so forth. But the main focus is to manufacture. Until if you are saying, the idea was to create jobs, then you miss the conversation. Yeka 1D1F no. Yenka say, we are coming to create jobs through the revival and now the expansion of existing. No, you can say one district be able one factory.
Sure. Yeah.
And the idea was a green factory.
Okay.
Not a brown one. And Americano. Until if
in the form of money as a green factory, and a brown a company or with this company.
And almost me, my mom, I was like, this is solid policy. Because when I was a policy analyst elsewhere, one of the suggestions I made to this idea of transformation was, look, why don't we have a version of cottage industrialization? Nkrumah, he did import substitution, but not necessarily cottage industrialization. China adopted some model, and it's working for them. Until there are some goose being out of China. They can easily tell local province there are many companies that are there producing some good. So I thought that was the idea. Like Central Geoconfi area, they produce pineapple. You set up factories along Sar line. Then maybe you go to a place like Gambaga, there we have natural share nuts. You can do a share.
So watermelon factory you Okromo.
There me no wale.
There me fi Gambaga. Usu there na we. There be a me ka Gambaga usu and now the me call wale. But of course we are brothers and neighbors.
Say a mischief until now who the link. A mischief.
I know together.
A mischief. That's what we feel. Also we feel. It's not about being together.
But
Me one day one factory ba kuna na wo otra wini ba de omo ye potato we no. Oh, potato for no kwane from say.
Mati wa ke wa sam da. But
Chalon potato na de o.
is it on the shelves?
O say.
Is it on the shelves?
Is that me who product?
Exactly my point.
Me sure say be o makwa ho hia mu ka.
I don't know the buy.
I don't know.
Ya mo musika nyina chi.
I don't know.
Kafra.
You see, Elunia.
Chalon no the potato no be bread pa. It brutal.
So you
bread ne croissant. Oh, it was good.
Anyway,
It's
so
okay.
how many of these factories have goods on the market and are in the market?
A confit juice.
Apart from which are?
And no, watermelon, the almost started production.
Oh, we're sure.
Oh, yes.
I understand.
The factory is there.
Actually, green factories and I say factories under the 1DF.
What's it?
It was almost
We can't like green factories under the program. As long as whether you supported them or not, they were doing their production.
No, so I make sure that there were a lot of factories that were dormant, that they have been
Oh, sure, that's a fact.
Under 1DF.
No, Minka said there were no.
So even the Preforce.
Preforce here,
Street lighting.
Preforce here, street lighting.
Okay, one D one F.
Hey. But anyway, I'm back to my point. So I don't do it.
Yeah.
Nyana me can say. Yeah. So far, me who abanya that has had a radical program of transforming the economy beyond rhetoric. No. Until you go kaya no. He's not saying say aban when transform the economy. Anya aban when kwa. Or see we as Ghanaians, and it's the truth. From Kuma Pensu, yenye bibia that has transformed the economy. And if you even look at the way I am managing the economy, it's just about borrowing and spending. Sa na ye. And he says that look, if you want to do something extraordinary, then your measures ought to also be extraordinary. Mimi fi say nanka e adia ni papemuno and serve as a reminder to all of us.
Okay.
Because these are things we've had conversations about. Where I say, look, we've had enough of the rhetoric. Now, or CMP before said they want to break the eight. Fair enough. But he says it should not just be enough to say they want to break the eight. And all you do is say, oh, the opponents came and these were the things they did. Yensu, and you keep making new promises. We have to have a radical conversation
about the structure of this
because
economy. Yeah.
And one high.
Oh, it seems like the same model.
They are just repeating the same thing. Just that MPP buy NPP for time to implement the same model. Sure. But something extraordinary has to happen. And look, if I were MPP, I would be excited about this. Say, look, how do we open up the conversation? So that going forward, the policies we're even going to churn out in Ukraine will be anchored, yes, on this bigger vision of truly and meaningfully transforming the economy and doing things different from the area. Look, Ministry of Finance, all they do is if Omu resume revenues. In fact, there's not even creativity about revenue generation. Uko GRE, they set timid targets, very low targets. We have exceeded our revenue targets. Meanwhile, your revenue target should be the target in the budget. What is here? Because, and I always say that, look, you should be striving to meet the target in the budget so that expenditures need revenue, so that your fiscal balance will really be balanced. If you are not even getting surplus, crampo, at least let it be a normal balance.
It's a good way to start.
What is here? But they'll come and set very timid targets, very low levels. Now, we've exceeded our targets. Meanwhile, Ministry of Finance saying yes, yet our revenue generating authority, catcher and our collecting authority, catcher and say, as far as their revenue for this fiscal year goes, they've exceeded their target. Why exceed your target? Nansu, our Ministry of Finance has had to go and borrow to finance the expenditure. What has here? And look, we have to start thinking about innovative ways to even increase our revenues.
Okay.
And secondly, Oh, say, Minister of Finance, we also need to make sure, say, it should not just be about, okay, if we are not able to meet our revenue targets, the next thing is, Bisia body will be at me, you. And yet, once you are credit worthy.
Now, you meet target now, Minister of Finance, or when you're dying.
Exactly. That is, I started doing something we should have been doing long time ago. This saying, say, you cut your coat according
to your size. Or your
it simply in economics means spend what you have. Don't spend beyond your means. He said in the budget, said now they are spending within their means. If your revenue is not coming up the way you expect, rationalize your expenditures. Which means there are some expenditures you don't engage in. What I say? And a bit what it is so. In fact, economists will tell you
also will negotiate the payment terms.
Yeah.
What is
IPP no?
Economists will tell you that expenditure adjustments and you can say okay. Using expenditure, if you are trying to you can say expenditure adjustment is easier and more successful compared to revenue adjustments when you are having fiscal issues.
Okay.
Because and you know when are deciding here,
spend this scanner on.
But revenue there, you can't tell how much you're going to generate.
Yeah.
But what you spend on there, you have control over it. And if you can say expenditure adjustments are usually more successful than revenue adjustments. And going forward, who said, apart from projects that are priority projects, are there projects bia eto de bia ye kona ahimfo ana obi ekapet na ya beye ye betimi cut down some of these things ana. And another important issue, fiscal policy rules way. They are meant to keep you in range. Nientia Yekofasa Fiscal Responsibility Act in Bayano is a fiscal policy rule.
Yeah.
The idea was to make sure that you don't overspend. You don't go beyond, you don't hit up the economy.
Check yourself.
You check yourself. It's a self-checking mechanism. What do you say? COVID by suspended in basically we've not restored it. You suspend it in emergency periods.
Germany did the same thing.
No,
most of even the advanced economies.
What do you say? We suspended it before we could even have the chance to implement it. But COVID, how many years? 3 years. We've not restored it.
Maybe the economy has not bounced back.
What do you mean? What do you mean by the economy hasn't bounced back? We are having slippages who can't say the economy hasn't bounced back.
But Obi, internal media budget review now say for the first time in an election year, the expenditure has been revised from 226.7 billion to 219. So in terms of the fiscal target, we are nearing. The minister even highlighted that we are nearing that 5%. Because when he said before COVID, now we were even doing below the 5% ceiling in 2018, 2019, before 2020 that we exceeded the 5%. So we're actually living within that. Yeah.
No, you see, when you have these fiscal policy rules, the idea, you see, there's every temptation. After 2021, 2022,
I think
he refused to restore that act because these are the things that keep us in check. And Una Kwaku Kwarteng highlight, look, ye di buy Senebe I bet me so that the excessive borrowing, would him say, look, I don't have enough revenue. And let me look at my expenditure items. Which of them can I rationalize? But if there is no fiscal policy rule binding you to a minimum and to a maximum deficit level,
you will not do it.
You will do. And he is reminding us, and he's telling MPP 42, say, is extraordinary. Breaking the so-called 8. You
have to break the norm.
You have to break the norm. And look, he's speaking to every Ghanaian. But because we're elections and MPP wants to break the 8, he's telling them that you need to break the norm. And the norm is we borrow, we spend. We borrow, we spend. Change that norm. Okay. When we talk about transformation, we go and do some lip service, get some already existing companies. And
even more important is the corruption in public procurement. I think he hammered that point.
That is the point. What I say, and these are very important issues. I raise your mom. Obi Obeka say was Shadana.
I'm not so good to I'm a court man PPA man.
Oh, Zaga.
Yeah. Sir, court.
Time with a strategy. Okay, no, because men trauma. No, what's it? No, me into Obi me das. Obi me das. Hey, Baba. Come no. Obi, yes. Me say, oh, asamina Kwaku Kana. Me say, it's not different from a Dr. Baumia near Oka.
So we ain't been wrong.
What's it?
Kwaku West.
Obi na Obi said me kan say wo hwe eye Kwaku asemi odi betudwa ya ene ensama ye ewura Dr. Mahmoud Bamiaka en chedam eni te say susure bi ani ntem ade ntem Obi mekasa Obi ma me twamfoni bi nkyere wo ne watiefo mutua asempa enwumre Obi say wo hwe eye abibiman ene Ghana man titru a Obi ya miss out on the ane your friend say industrial revolutions no be SMENsa no obi anything so what the first industrial revolution a see in the 1800s mohono that was when a steam engine ya discover na a be mind be brain then time we were under colonialism inti yentumi enya emfaso emfi the first industrial revolution mo obi so all the first industrial revolution tontanya the second industrial revolution a discovery of electricity Obi and also the international na ebibi ma bibre na eni ate na ya sha se eku gidigidi se ebe den ye benya fa ahodie saa abre ne bia na ba kwa na mienu bi kra na etumi eden afri mu a se omo ade omo ho enam enu ntino Obi yentumi enya emfasodie bibre emfi eye the second industrial revolution to be kaya Taminya independence in 1957 pe na your first president no na adia and it doesn't hunu ba kwa ne woni nusu ne say ye benya de friend say hydro energy eye akosombo dam because sad breno na the second industrial revolution discovery of electricity na aba ayan se de nya faso nto no de mi se na ofiri ehwa akoso abantena ye ni daso hunu na den na ewo na ni so tenu no didim na me say ye konya partners afa besi say no ba be sibia ma enemu no on be set up factory e wotema se beka eye valco na se uyi enu fi ho Obi the third industrial revolution discovery of computers and I say when computer was invented in the late 60s and the 70s Obi and non sono sa breno na abimai be brena including Ghana sa breno na coup d'etat so be care your first coup d'etat happened in 1966 sa breno na computer ya discover edeba ti coup d'etat na yetu aban na we so aban na yetu no so we the economic history of Ghana sa breno yetu aban rough sa until Rollins be in the last coup and sana coup as the to Obi and also yenya emfaso emfim na we nyina ye processes are Obi enu nti na ema ne Ghana man ene abibiman be bre in sub-Saharan Africa ejina bebiaye den ye jina ti se wo hwa Obi se wo de watu kwan kakre af meka abibiman me he o ye mu bi nyankopɔ adom ti etumi etu kwan afa abibiman bebre so Obi okwa de wo ho no and ensheda nye different from the uhu abibima akan I say yesheda ne sa ade no ye ma ya say ye framework bi na yeshim na ni nyina titiro no se wo kan research ejina ne ya maboboso yi Obi na na me no kase ene ababedru the fourth industrial revolution enche bia the fifth industrial revolution beba na the fourth industrial revolution the era of the machines say adwuma nipa tumi ye machine betumi aye Obi nti first no nanka Obi ko university so mekosua banking and finance ene there are auto machines are obi first nanka yinim so wotumi the ATM card pe and the shemu yisika and obetu akogina sa auto machine ho na watumi add deposit sika na waje wo slip e say wa deposit sika sa machine abetumi print wo say in fact adie bia wo ye wo bank ho bia sa machine ebetumi ayama in fact okọ eye the manufacturing center obekọ adie no senka nipa na tena kire ye say o part we nipa no de asha no de boat abom obi and okọ anye nipa na to eye machine and programming or turn away oh yeah now fifth industrial revolution be any the artificial intelligence AI obi say me can say all these revolutions no ye nya mfaso de amfrim obi enti say na Kwaku Kwarteng de atoja no ntina ohwe obi de say Dr. Mahmood Bawumia o say ono the digitalization or den odi besi na ni so because with digitalization no obetumi fight corruption. Procurement breaches asemia waka with me. You can only fight it head on with digitalization. Na me nua ba kono kasa no kasa mi so eya doctor eja eya economist and sisi ade oya IT. Na obi de meka kakra ne say any mrema ye obi without digitalization and information technology there is nothing called an economy. Emi say me nua in fact me nua no me omutem no munyida aye economists into me nua kro kasa as mo economists and an kro jaba somebody into onim. Na emi say politics e do be a aja no credit na emi say wo de a share
digital na economics
yo wo de say be me din chiremo ba so obi na obi first no nanka udidwa obi so udidwa wo ko China obi next obetumi akra no mafri China de abagana na je se wafu aeroplane akọ China meboa time yesusa wo ko fast spare parts kra na je se wafu plane na wo obi and because of digitalization to obi obetumi atra wo dem na wa order ade afri eye China na ababedru Ghana amaw se no nyeba wina de se wo asemo no obi first no Ghana me here na wontumi ntwa ade e wo mokola e me yemfa mbre wo fie ene wo ka ba me ase na me kire ni
lawyer maninwe
because of digitalization ye de eye housing correct housing address system e ba yinti obi ene Okada riders be brina be business owners because of delivery services obi. So, and with that digitalization, there is nothing called an economy currently. In fact, I take it to your catch say economists make us a marketer. Market is not a building.
Of course.
Market is not a place.
Of course, you know.
And that is the economy. And now the economy is digital. And to be able say, I mean, yes. So we may build me point about. And with that digitalization and information technology,
IT and digitalization is not part of it. Not just a sebi.
No, but obi any from. So be any from.
There is nothing like economy. Obi. Now obi memra eye economic performance asemi ye kan ho asem say doctor ne obi. Let's speak to the day. Say media I love data obi. 2015 obi. Na ye GDP growth send your economy ni under former president John Dramani Mahama say ne ye man just one term for 4 years no mess Ghana no obi in 2014 under his watch na economy ni grew at 2.9% obi 2016 time I was see from no na economy no where Minister of Finance data no obi me can you in fact budget system media budget no ehom na 3.4% obi. Now your debt to GDP makam was money 73.1%. Not rebased. Because it was rebased from 1993 to 2006.
So lawyer
MPP and the capable Dr. Mahmood Bawumia as head of economic management say sa performance na a best small obi enti Ghanaians amute ema yetumi ne emese sanoma obi na yenhwe data ne ne say the Dr. Mahmood Bawumia kan ne no kra na sanye no kra obi in 2017 tama afini kwe awiye no na your economy ne grow by 8.1%. Economy na grow by 3.4% obi na a jump with 8.1% in 2017.
Some one of the
so
I can give you grounds in
2018 now then one grow I don't know where economy economy no.
I think that the way lawyer to go invest, but you agree on the investment in the oil sector and the result of the lawyer
growth no kwefuma the economy wouldn't have grown anything less than 5%. Okay. Obi. In fact, in 2018, the economy grew by 6 point. Oh. Next calculation they say easy to do it. Some in the article say
data until we are
easy. Obi. Some are transfer calculation in America. Opa yen film. And say your first quarter growth 4.7. Meanwhile no the non-oil sector no e group no e grow your GDP no. Obi. And when it comes to transforming the economy, there Obi, no one can dispute MPP when it comes to economic growth. Obi, in fact, COVID the crab see say anano the outgone British Prime Minister Ura Rashid Sunak Kutina British Parliament. COVID the one semeboa. And President Joe Biden as we see for me. Okay, COVID so once and Obi beboa. Okay. Now, COVID the crab by economy grow by 0.5%. And now the capability of the leader of the economic management here, Dr. Mahmoud Babientino. Obi, in 2021, na economy grow 0.5 no. Na asas to apeje ma kokko do 5.1%. And so NDC for na year na Obi. Omo country. All right. And sana Russia Ukraine war sabe sibiem. Under the same able leadership of Dr. Mahmoud Bamianti, first quarter growth and IMF for 3.1. In fact, Ministry of Finance for 2.8. No, to me, Peter Mako to 4.7 beyond all expectation. Now, we need to revive.
You are expecting it to get there.
Lawyer.
Lawyer now I mean Kafaxi. The first quarter growth is 4.7. And Larry who budget. So who budget? Medasi also me Obi. And it's when it comes to the economic management, dear Obi, Dr. Alhaji Mahmoud Mabia, it's undisputed. That is a fact. So Obi, now me a year diversification of the economy. Any policies once me say me nua atiki kan once Obi. My ma data be Obi. In 2021, now your total rice import, in fact, total agricultural imports in 2022 actually, now your $2.6 billion Obi. Now sa import we know the first major import no now your rice. Second your wheat and a third your poultry Obi. Now wheat the only me can because wheat the weather and the na sa weather no so no ye ni bi e wo ye ha ye o ma awo kakra ho no eno na e penti wheat the as only me say na anye ho bibia Obi. Ti about rice na number 1 there no betumi ye ho bibi Obi. Na me ma data ne say in 2021 Ghana imported 805 metric tons of rice. 805,000 metric tons of rice Obi. And now policies and programs are one for senior year county Obi. Member boy near one fin. But today, where Minister of Information, Minister of Food and Agriculture data in America.
And that should be planting for food and jobs.
Yes. Obi, in 2023, last year, na etumi atia bafuma ba do 440,000 metric tons.
And is it because local production has gone up?
So yes, local production has gone up. In fact, the data is there. Obi, and the overall rice sufficiency in Ghana this year 49 to 51, according to data from the Ministry of Food and Agriculture. Local rice production, you can check the data.
You see, government was not even buying.
And the local rice market is and the rice sufficiency
paddy rice in this country. We have how many millers do we have in this country?
Rice is not making.
Paddy rice is what we million is what we produce in this country.
And I make say data some making. At the end of the 805 and I do 440,000 almost by half.
We need to find out the cost of
yes, I know it's another discussion. But the point is
no, but your argument is that it's because local production.
Yes!
And he's saying no to it.
It is true because Mama rice sufficiency. Mama rice sufficiency.
No, but I think sir, before you say no, it was a contrary evidence. But
we'll get it later.
So I think that's what I take on.
Obi,
Yes.
Obi.
But also there are some males so.
Obi,
Obi,
let me go on. Obi. Yanko car.
The average rice demand in this country.
Obi.
Yes.
Casa in 2022. Ghana spending $1.14 billion in the import to cars. But in fact, our average year-on-year demand for cars is 100,000 cars. Obi. Out of this 100,000 cars, more than 90% were second-hand used cars. Any other buy me, Obi. As a result of 1D, 1F, as we are making, so offer a year the brand new cars that were bought. Okay, offer the total number of brand new cars that were bought in 2022 at Obi, 2022, 2023. Now is 6,000. I think the budget even captured it. Brand new cars. And yet, Mekaka, Tia Robber, a somewhere similar making.
How do they get that data?
The budget, Kokan media budget, no, Minister Kawum, say 4,300 of these brand new cars were bought from the local assembling plants. The minister even said it. Yes, he said it.
In Ghana, you know, 6,000 brand new cars spending.
More than 90% ayo home used cars. Cars are credit. What's the home used cars in the brain? Are brand new.
Sure.
But the banner one cars are brand new.
Sure.
More than 90% ayo home used cars are credit by. So me make it point about the impact. Obi. Enti edi ni betumi aye ema mene wo mienu ene a lawyer don't know isikani ba me na me kakra ni mbotum. Me I would ever say menu article. You ever say article so ni sika. You betumi enya saka CB Obi. Eno na Dr. Mahmoud Baobia the innovative leader. Say or the friend say credit scoring. Eba. Obi. Na credit scoring de me edamakoma so pantil be me ko bia me ya ambassador wo. Yes, because Obi South Africa na meet. Yes, I know they agree. Oh, we will do it, but the entry policy ni munuyela me nuati. Ne de kanaba. Obi. Me South Africa na me ko school e ho na me kira de Obi. Me wi me PhD Obi. Na ye tata me. Se me meje car. E ho de mo friend garage. Se car ni sobra na be peke ne awope. Obi. And yes, I may corner can I catch him say, yeah, 700,000 rands into Dr. Bano. Betria 700,000. I said, Betria even a move fampo and son what you can. I said, Debbie, yes, I mean, from me proof of bank and a market. Now, me driving the car I want, Obi. Where your credit score was. So you don't need to pay a dime before you get Obi. When you are there, Dr. Alhaji Mahmoud Bamia, so they say, Ghana, ni bia uya jume, bia respective, say, oya bia jume, say, oya private work. Then, if it's hard, you can so be quite you know, there's a difference between way back and your friend say higher purchase. You see, you don't pay a dime. That is what I'm saying. That is the emphasis.
What should I say? Ghana and India, yes,
up front. You make some
but the same what you are Kakanka. It really
but it's not based on the credit score.
Scoring. It's not based on
what is there now. It's not based on
credit scoring.
Credit scoring, I say, but I credit worthiness.
Yes,
sure.
Because of a new thing, Ghana for me bring to me access to some of these final goods. And you buy
what is there now? No, largely high purchase.
Higher purchase. Now higher purchase. What is the name called higher purchase? There is no higher purchase.
No,
because I purchase me.
One city commentary and
over the number of months.
And I'm not from so.
Obi. No, man, say
yes.
Messi Mini. Messi Obi. Schemes na one. Oh, I want to say teacher for the once you are part of the teacher union, the union they are the ones being your benchmark for your credit worthiness.
I'm giving you a practical example. I'm saying
president, the one
company be OB company.
Yeah.
And now on the
police
because if
it's the same thing.
Don't give him clearance.
Oh, to me, that is what he doesn't know. Oh, to me, say, see, dear. say alone abetia wona abetia but ubenya credit
guarantees from them.
Dr. Dawood Bawumia says your credit worthiness is your Ghana card and how whether you will be based on your building and your credit score.
Just having a card is
credit card and having a job. Is a job that pays you.
And building your score.
You are over
This is South Africa. I've enjoyed it, so I know this.
Proof of banking. How many Ghanaians are banking? Less than 30% of our population are banking.
Say
less than 30% of our population.
Don't insult our mothers. Please don't make that statement. They can benefit any credit worthiness. No one. Identification. Your Ghana card. Send me South Africa. Next time, bank account to be a baby. There is a unique identification that identifies me with my bank details or with any financial opportunity. Me card and my number and was and then me Dr. Frank Bannon identify me. And me card and you identify me Obi because and no any hunting now risk one pa because of that now banks be grant me my loans at a lower rate because any part is Obi me papa ko drama and kwa fia kubesi echire. And to follow mommy, how do you identify the person? But with Ghana card, you'll be able to identify the person. Obi. And the Ghana card near Fapim, they bear a credit score in Obi. Now, me say, so about credit score in Asamia. A year Absa Bank, Miami Bank, or Ghana FMB, two South African Bank, Absa Bank, it will pretty a similar thing.
Okay.
So, premium accounts, our mobile score. And to see amount. Apps who could be a premium account in amount will normal Visa card. Near amount will card now or money build those score. Near almost start to me dear on the man almost start me with 2,000 Ghana cedis. And they say, oh, you see 2,000 Ghana cedis, no? Now, so within the 31 days, no, my dear man, who to be clear, no man, me would do 10,000 Ghana cedis. Obi. So, to me, so Eddie no crowd within that same period now. Now, score no Ekosro, no man move from 10,000 to could be 50,000 Ghana cedis without even having zero in your account. Absa is the first bank in Ghana or may introduce society. And it's around that lines and I had Kwaku Tina me because ma moji quick loan awentria and I said would you know why with cheap no effect to credit worthiness Obi. And to see a transformation of the economy, these are the proactive measures. Dr. Dawood Bawumia vision or the egu apostle. Presidential candidate what to me am and it is so I didn't to say Obi. And to the end candidate, dear doctor,
Dr. Frank Bannon, any attending Kano. Unfortunately, memory as from we say, Momo a form of banking. Also, Momo banking is also a form of banking, and even practicing
financial inclusion. People mix the two. You can be, financially included. It doesn't mean you own the
sanity. And then I send it from a factual point.
The Ministry of Fisheries and Aquaculture Development, Belonche. Aquaculture for Food and Jobs program. Aquaculture for Food and Jobs program. And they almost say across R&B farms. Oh, Gomwa in Swayim in the central region. 30th of July.
Will they give money?
2020. I don't know.
I don't know the
details. 10 a.m. and Basso. Larry Dogbe has a message for Atik. Please ask Atik if I'm still the General Secretary of the Mass Action for Development in Africa. We used to be Mass Action Ghana. I was not consulted on the change of name. Larry Dogbe.
Anyway, you know, Larry, were you ready? Were you ready? Were you ready? Make I put a ring on it, I forget to strike in. Big cars, more money, come sugar my thing. Listen